Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Road to Vostok. Last time I died, and I have decided not to start up any more proper playthroughs for now until we get build 2, which we're more than halfway through August at this point. We might be getting build 2 in September. At least I think that was the estimate. So, also the mod situation is currently in limbo, and we're waiting for that to resolve as well. So I think today we're just going to go through my mod settings because I was talking about doing that for a long time and I've been getting a lot of comments specifically about the AI mod settings that I use. So let's just go through that a little bit today. Hopefully I won't take up too much of your time, whatever it is I'm trying to say here with words. And we can just do that real fast. This is my testing file mod. It's got like no restrictions on it. It has it's got the everything that I gave myself from the item spawner. Whenever I get like a new mod for like weapons or whatever, like gear and items and stuff, I use this to test it out. Although lately I really haven't been doing that much of it because, like I said, the mod situation is in limbo. We're gonna hear more about that very soon, which means that things are changing in the modding community. So like the developers, the way that mods are provided and stuff like that, all going to change. So, you know, not all mods are currently available and not all mods are being updated right now. You probably already noticed that. We talked about it a little bit previously. Yeah, that's the situation with that. So let's just talk briefly about my mods. Like I said before, as always, you can check in the description of my Road to Vostok videos for my mod list. It's a live Notion page that I've made, and I can update it freely. The mods are arranged in order of the load order, so in case you need to reference that for any reason, I think I have all of them on there. I might actually have to remove some now, but I'll go back through that later today and see if I actually need to change my list and all. But this is what we're working with. This is my mod configuration menu, my MCM here in Road to Vostok. First of all, we'll go straight down to the AI system overhaul, which actually isn't very far down at all. It's just the second one from the top. This list, I think, also is not... Yeah, this is not in load order. This is in alphabetical order, as you can see. Parentheses and then W down there at the bottom. That's how that's arranged. So the Armed Enhancement AI System Overhaul Settings mod. Or, you know, mod with the settings here. Sorry if I'm a little, like, I don't know, like, flustered today. I guess I did so much work already this morning, and then I was doing a ton of work outside and had to have a shower, because, man, I was a mess. But, yes, Armed Enhancement AI System Overhaul. These are my settings. There are a lot of them, as you just saw. Like, there's pretty much every parameter that's available to modify the bots right now that we have, you know, in this version of the game that we've got, is available here in this menu. You can check everything. And I mean, it is granular. Most of these things you're probably not even going to want to mess with. From my part, I have mostly just changed the spawning, right? So you can have every faction spawn on every map. So if I turn that on, the bandits, the guards, and the military will spawn on every map, by, you know, like, no matter what. And then you can also make those factions fight each other, right? They recognize and engage each other if this is on, so I'll turn that on as well. That's really easy. If you're having performance problems or you feel like it's not immersive when you install this mod as it is, then you can just flip these off and then work your way through the settings from there as you go through the maps to see what it is that you prefer to have in the game. So we'll turn these on for right now, and we're actually going to mess with these settings a lot and go out and see what that's like. The session limit right here that actually dictates the minimum active AI count. So each map will have 2 to 8, like it says right here, AI as a concurrent limit if those default settings are on. If I flip these on right here, yeah, so the session limit is actually going to be, with this setting, is 4, and then the session max is going to be 7 by default. So we're just going to test the default settings first. The initial population, this dictates how many bots spawn in immediately when you enter the map. So as soon as I load into a map, 4 bots are going to appear in each of their different places, not necessarily together, not necessarily far apart, but that's what's going to happen. The spawn distance, and also the respawn intervals and stuff like that. The spawn distance actually has to do with the maximum distance between spawning AI and the player, right? So this prevents the bots from just appearing right in front of you and taking you out like it's a bad video game. You wouldn't want that. So this is a minimum spawn distance of 100 meters. They will spawn at the least 100 meters away from you when you enter a map. So if I reduce this down to, I don't know, by half, right? We'll say 50 meters. Then I'll have much more of a likelihood, right, of engaging somebody as soon as I enter a map. Which might be good, might be bad. It depends on what you want. The respawn interval, right, the min and max, dictates how long it takes for spawns to replenish. Good grief, I'm so sorry. My allergies are so bad because I was working outside. So if you want less time, right, between bot spawns, or if you want more time between bot spawns, you can edit these freely. That's very easy to do. You can make it a shorter time for them to respawn. You can make it a longer time for them to respawn. Depends on what you want and how you play the game. In this build, you can use these settings just in this first section, right? Just in this first section right here to make the game more immersive, right? More immersive or more dynamic, depending on how you want to play it. So if you want a fast-paced shooter game here in the Road to Vostok space, then you can change these values, increase the bot counts, decrease the spawn distance, and also decrease the respawn intervals to keep the activity high. And if you do want to use interfaction combat, then you're probably, I don't know, you may want to do that so that there's just constant warfare. That's totally an option. You can do that if you want to do. The initial population also, if you want to, let's say if I like bring this up to 12, right? The session limit max per map, we bring that up to 12, and then I increase the initial population, sorry, to 6, then there should be activity like right away as soon as I get into a map, and we'll find out about that very quickly. Also, if you're totally new to modding Road to Vostok, these settings all are live. You don't actually have to push like an apply button or anything like that. As soon as you modify one of these values, the changes have taken effect. So as soon as you exit the menu, right, and go into the world, sometimes depending on like, I think the next session that you load up, so like I think if you change the spawn settings, you're going to actually have to go into a new map for those to take effect, but I'm not positive. It may take effect immediately, but I think it's probably smarter to make any changes to those settings in a safe place to at least give the game a chance to load up, correctly, just in case it causes any problems. I don't know if it would cause any problems. It's whatever. I'm not really concerned about that. And I also think that this is going to change drastically when we get the second build of the game, because we already know that the bots are going to get an overhaul, and that's going to greatly influence how we deal with this stuff here. So we're probably going to need all new bot mods. They're going to have to do different things. The code's going to be different. The parameters will all be different. But the bots by default in build 2 are going to be so much better. So there's probably going to be less to modify, but there will still be space to change the behaviors to make things more or less exciting, I guess. It depends on what you want. So section 3 here is dynamic spawn and AI patrol. So with this, you can make the bots randomly spawn all across the map, and you can also enable dynamic spawn markers, and that says right here, you can generate extra random spawn points that are scattered across the map. These are on by default, and I would say that you should probably just leave them on. It's going to make things more interesting. It'll be more varied. The bots will be in different places. And like right here, dynamic marker, you can set how many extra spawn points generate into the map. I don't think we have any sort of reference for where those end up, but seeing how they're random, I would assume that they're exactly that. They just pop up and they're generated randomly across each of the maps. So wherever there is open space, like a flat plane where a bot can walk, preferably I suppose where they can't get trapped. There's not really a lot of places where they could get trapped, I guess. that's where they're going to spawn. And it can happen all across those maps. I think it's much better this way, personally. You can also decrease the distance between dynamic and existing markers to prevent clustering, just in case that is ever a problem. You're probably only going to notice this when the bot counts are high and the spawn timers are short. So lots of bots spawning in, lots of bot activity, lots of respawning. If you happen to notice that they're clustering, it's probably not going to be immersive. So you're going to want to change this right here, minimum distance. So you're going to want to like increase this right here in order to fix that problem, if indeed it does become a problem for you. Dynamic marker indoor ratio. This is the indoor versus outdoor marker ratio. So like it says right here, if it was at 0.0, they would all be outdoors. All spawns outdoors. If it was at 1.0, all the spawns would be indoors. All right. So we're trying to get bots that spawn both in and outside. And the default value seems pretty good. Most of the bots I find outside anyways, but it could be more immersive potentially if they were to spawn indoors, and that really falls to your preference. And I think that you'd really only be able to figure that out with a lot of time and exposure in the game, seeing how and where the bots spawn and gauging how you encounter them based on your settings that you have. The random patrol targets, I actually don't know what this is. AI patrol picks random destinations. Oh yeah, got it. Off AI sticks to fixed routes. So this is default, basically. This is like vanilla Road to Vostok. This is custom. So this should get the bots roaming and patrolling, as we're going to call it here in the game for these purposes, in much more varied ways across the map. So, for example, mods for SPT did this for the bots in Escape from Tarkov. You know what I mean? The bots by vanilla are only going to stick to these patrol routes the developers gave them. So you'd always know exactly where they're going to be or where their routes are, you know where you're going to encounter them. But if it's randomized, right, they could be anywhere. And that's much more interesting, much more dynamic, far better. Now, let me take a drink real quick because holy crap, I'm going to go dry real fast. Ugh. Isn't that immersive? You have to drink in real life, you have to drink in the video game. Okay. So these groups here are the per map settings all the way down to terminal. So in these groups, right, you can adjust how many bots are going to spawn. And I actually haven't changed any of these individual settings. They've been working very well for me. I think that having more bots basically would be unimmersive in general, like depending on the map. So that's why I just like to change the global faction spawning settings right here. This does everything that I want it to. If I have never like found the need to be granular in like changing how bots spawn per map, but if you have a preference in terms of like how many bots you think should be on a given map, which I think would actually be probably a better idea for maps like Minefield and Apartments and Terminal, if you wanted to increase the amount of guards and soldiers that you find there, right? Then this would be a good option for you because you can change those settings and not have them affect the global counts. So if you want to have more bots on the terminal, you can increase these values. And then also replenish. You can actually set it to stop respawning new AI after the pool is killed. So like the bulk of, bots, if you've taken them all out, none will respawn. And that's actually by default. I think it's 10 in the vanilla game, bots per map that spawn. And if you kill those 10 bots, then you're just safe. There aren't any more that are going to respawn. But with this mod, you can have infinitely respawning bots, which I think is much better for raids. And since there's no like story context, right? There's no like plot context in the game right now for anything that happens. You kind of just want to make it so that there's something for you to do most of the time. It kind of just becomes an empty sandbox if you kill off all the bots. So I don't know. I think it's much better to just, at least in this build, just have them keep respawning. Why not? You're obviously going to be able to find the ammunition that you need. And you can use mods if you're struggling with that to give yourself more ammunition anyways, or at least make more ammunition available by like adding it onto corpses and stuff like that. So I don't mess with this. You can if you want to. It's not something I've done. There's also individual faction controls. So here's the bandits, right? Here's the military. Um, there's the guards. I scrolled right past them. There is Punisher, which is the Punisher's squad, right? His stats, and also the elite faction, which I don't actually know like specifically what the elite faction is. There's like elite bots that can appear, uh, which is to say that I think they just have better gear. So like randomly, there's like a small percentage of bots that can appear with the top level gear, or at least the best gear, you know, like better gear in general. So you can choose the weights, meaning the likelihood that those bots will spawn with each one of these things, like level 3 plus armor, level 4 armor, stuff like that. A helmet, whether they'll have a pistol or an SMG or a rifle, marksmanship with like marksman class weapons specifically. So I guess that would be, I don't know, the Mosin, and also shotgun. So if you're feeling like you want to encounter more stuff like this, then you can increase these stats to make it more likely that the elites will spawn with better stuff. Or if you feel like you're encountering them too much and you want to make it easier, then you can reduce the chances that they'll have better equipment, better gear, stuff like that. So that's what that's for. AI perception being the next category right here. It basically, which I actually I haven't changed this. You can make the AI, the bots, right, more proficient in combat. You can make them better perceive you in the field, or also other AI as well. So, and that's for every condition, like night, when it's raining, when it's overcast, in the fog. You can tune their hearing range, their maximum vision range, swim multiplier, and that's funny. So you can change how well they can detect you while you're doing each of these things, right? Crouching, standing, swimming, walking, running, blah, blah, blah. Detection drain rate, detection fill rate, which is just like, if you're playing like a game like what, like Splinter Cell or Metal Gear Solid, there's like a bar that fills, or even like Assassin's Creed, right? There's like a bar that you can see of the enemy perception of you, like how when they're detecting you, it like fills up and empties out depending on how well they can see you, if you're hidden, if you're visible to them, stuff like that. That's what that is. Enable enhanced perception, which is on by default. This is a custom AI perception system, which I think actually is all of these parameters down here. So if you want, you can just turn this off altogether and they'll have vanilla detection settings. Their perception will be totally default. But I think that it's much better this way because it makes them feel more dynamic, more immersive to some extent. Not perfect, right? Not perfect. We're not there yet. But that's how it is. You can also you can even adjust their AI player memory. This is the amount of seconds an AI stays in combat after losing sight of you, right? So the vanilla equivalent, it says right here, was 8 seconds. If the developer says that was too forgetful, the default is 30 seconds. So they're going to remember you for 30 seconds. So you're going to get chased, which is great. And I think that that's also really, it's a good thing to be so easy to modify because you can set it all the way up to 120 seconds. That's 2 full minutes of trying to evade a murderous, marauding enemy. And, you know, in this game, what does that mean? Maybe not so much as in other games, but it's there. You can do that if you want to. Also, corpse alert. If a bot spots, or okay, let's read the setting actually, just so I don't get this wrong. When an AI dies nearby a live AI within 8 meters, switch to combat and remember the corpse position, which adds to the tactical awareness. It helps the bots to figure out your last known position and also your known activity area. And bots will apply suppressing fire on your last known area. So if you disappear behind a wall from where they were watching you, they're going to keep firing on that position while they move around and try to find you. And I love that. That's much better. And those are actually right here, the AI tactics section down below. We've got cover fire, combat, attack, defend, shift, hunt, cover, relocate only, vantage, and hide. And these just make it, you can adjust all these values to make them better at hunting, right? So when they're tracking you, you can adjust these values to make them defend better when they hold their position, stuff like that. It's more likely for them to defend, or less likely for them to defend, I should say. So if this value actually makes it more or less likely that they're going to hold a position against you. If they're being attacked, if you're trying to come after them, if they might defend the position that they're holding instead of evacuating immediately. And of course, they could hide. They could... What's shift mean? Oh, sidestep to a new angle. Got it. I do think that this is a bit too granular right now. I've never had to worry about this. You're going to see that with all of these things. Like, what I'm describing works for so much of this, and even the AI tactics, it's separated into distances, right? So there's one menu for close range, another for medium range, another section of this menu for long range, and even for out of sight. So these are all the parameters that are available to the developer, right? And in code, this is laid out, but the MCM makes it pliable for you as the player to freely adjust all these parameters. Excuse me, and I think that that's really, really cool, even though I haven't had to deal with it. You could spend a lot of time doing this. I think that it has diminishing returns right now because the bots just don't do much anyways, and you're not going to see them do a whole lot in terms of like varied animations and stuff like that. So they're still going to look the same as they're becoming more tactical the more you adjust these. You know what I mean? So I think it'll be more worth it to just leave these default, play through the game as it is right now, while you wait for a build 2 when things start to get way more interesting. And it's going to be much more rewarding. This is fine though. This is good to have right now. This is great. I'm sure people are getting a lot of use of this. I really haven't. That's just how that goes. Section 21 covers AI self-healing. Yes, with this mod, the bots can heal themselves. You can turn it off, you can turn it on. This dictates how well they heal themselves and how long it takes for them to do that, and how long they have to wait until they try to heal themselves again. If you injure a bot and you guys both get into cover, you're hidden from each other, you can hear them healing. You can like hear them unpack a healing item and apply a healing item. And then they'll be back in the fight when they're done. That also gives you time to run up on them and attack them. Suppressing fire, section 22. This is what I was talking about before. The bots will use suppressing fire. You can increase or decrease the chance of them doing that. You can turn it off altogether. You can even adjust the interval and the spread. You know what I'm saying? You can adjust the spread multiplier of the suppressing fire. How many games let you do that? Not so many. Auto fire switch. So this just dictates whether or not a bot will use single fire or auto fire. And you can set the distance at which they decide to do that. So that's a bit realistic and immersive, right? If with these settings, even at default, bots will be much more likely to fire with a single fire from range, right? Just like you would want to. And much more likely at close range to fire at full auto. All that makes sense, right? You can turn it off, you can turn it on, you can adjust those distances and the chance percentage that they're going to do that as well. Ammo and reload, yep, they have to reload. There is a penalty, extra seconds added when reloading from a fully empty magazine. That makes sense. You can adjust whether or not they have finite ammo. I would suggest that you turn that on for immersion reasons. You can adjust the reload time. You can even have it so that their weapon jams. All weapons can fail to fire. Plays a dry click, then a clearing sound, then resumes. Works even if finite ammo is off, so that's great. I think that you should turn that on. Rarely, I think, have I encountered that. In fact, have I ever? I'm not so sure I remember ever encountering that. It is possible. And of course, you could crank that way up too. You know what I mean? To like see whether or not it makes any difference in your gameplay. I think that it would be immersive to have them jam more often because especially, well, actually not just Bandit, all of the enemy factions seem to use terribly degraded weapons. Their firearms are in terrible shape. So it would make sense if they jammed more often. It depends on what you want. Only mess with this stuff if you really want to. You don't have to worry about this because by default, both finite ammo and jamming are on. So the possibility is there. I think it does make things much more immersive, even if you don't encounter it all that much. Which would make sense if you had a low bot count anyways. I need another drink. Plate armor. The bots now have plate armor. It also has this parameter right here. Damage multiplier when AI shoots another AI through plate. By default, it's at 2.8. I don't really see a problem with that. They do seem to wreck each other pretty routinely. So I would just leave these things as default. There is a multiplier on plate condition loss when a player hits a plated AI, right? I don't necessarily know why it's if 2.0 is different than like 1.0 as term. I don't think that that's like twice the vanilla amount of damage. I don't know. There's no like reference for that. I have no idea. I suppose I could look at the code. I'm not going to do that, at least not right now. Helmet global. Drop broken helmet items. So if drop a pickup item when helmet breaks. Drop a pickup item when helmet breaks. I don't really know what it means by that exactly. I would think that, well, I know for a fact that when I shoot and zero an enemy helmet, it falls off. So that's what that means. Enable the helmet system. AI wears helmets to protect from headshots. Obviously, you should turn that on. Helmet damage multiplier player. This multiplier on helmet condition loss when player headshots are a helmeted AI. So that seems pretty normal. I think at most an enemy helmet has lasted 2 to 3 shots. When it's like the actual police, like the military helmet or whatever, the level 2. So that seems fine. I don't see any reason to change that. The elite squad system. Spawn elite squads, multi-member coordinated AI groups. Yes, there are those, but I feel like I don't encounter them much at all. It's usually still individual hostiles. Sometimes I'll encounter a group of 2 soldiers, and that might be about it. You could easily mess with these. Squad size min, squad size max. Oh, here we go. Squad spawn chance, right? So this is at 15%. It's rolled once. So like once per map, I guess, you have a chance to have an elite squad. So if I turn this all the way up, guaranteed each time, right? So we can see if that plays out. I've never actually interfaced with that group of settings at all. Fire detection, right? Enable custom fire detection, detection range, silencer range multiplier, which is a range multiplier for silent shots. If it's lower, it's harder to hear. These are all things that you can do, right, to make the bots either easier to fight or harder to fight. So if you want their perception to increase even further, then you can make it so that anytime a shot is fired, they're looking around for you. LKL fuzz radius? How far AI's last known location estimate deviates from your real position. Ooh. 0 is perfect GPS, vanilla. 8, AI walks toward a point in an 8-meter radius around you and gives you time to relocate. That's more immersive. So that's what these settings are like. There's also a territory system, which I don't even think I know about this. Chance an AI gets a territory on spawn. What? So maybe they stick to one zone right after they spawn and they're like, this is my territory now, and they're gonna like defend it or stay in it throughout the map for the duration of their life. Cooperative defense, they can work together within a radius. They can, okay, just leave these things on for sure. Like if these toggles, you're probably always going to want to leave these on so that you can benefit from the diversity of settings that this mod actually gives you in the game. Recruit AI, aim cone tightness dot. What? How tightly you must look at the AI. Huh? 0.99 nearly center screen only, 0.85 forgiving cone, 0.5 whole front hemisphere. I actually don't. How far away? Oh, that's right. You can recruit bots. I forgot about that. I totally forgot that that's a feature of this mod. That's right, it's on H by default. Press key while aiming at an AI to recruit it. That's right, so you can adjust how easy or how hard it is to actually recruit them by like how close you have to be and how closely aimed your reticle has to be. So like how close to the center of their, like, I don't know, their being box to be able to recruit them. That's awesome. And then at the bottom, debug, don't worry about that. You're probably not gonna have to worry about this, but you can look up, you can see, you can highlight all the AI, right? So you can get a better idea of how they're spawning. which is very useful if you're going to spend a lot of time configuring exactly how you want bots to spawn in, then you definitely will want to make use of this bottom section here. I haven't. It doesn't matter. You're probably going to find use for it if indeed you want to tune just how the bots do spawn. So you can toggle all these things on, right? And you can see exactly where they are and what they're doing, which will give you all the information that you need, right? To be able to see exactly what they're doing. HUD interactive mode hotkey. Interactive mode. Mouse visible, draggable, scrollable, clickable checkboxes. Got it. Okay, so you can like actually interface with that stuff in-game. That is extremely useful. HUD visibility hotkey. F4. The entire HUD panel. Got it. Kill counter corner. Position of the kill counter. Oh. Alright. That's off by default. If you really want to track the number of kills, you can turn that on. So you can see what's going on with that. Let's see here. 31. The section down here at the bottom is performance. So if you're losing frames to anything that this mod does, you can come down here and nerf a bunch of these settings so that it costs less CPU. Even though the performance is really good in general in this game, Auntie has said that the AI are actually really CPU intensive right now, and it's because they're poorly optimized. So I would imagine that people with lower specs in their PCs are probably noticing this more. Above a certain point, like for example for me, the performance is pretty much uniform under all circumstances, and I imagine that's probably going to be the case for most of you. If you've got better hardware than me, you're not going to notice a problem, ever. Like never. At least not in this build. And Auntie says that the next build is going to have more optimized AI too, so it could be even better in the next build, so it might not ever be a problem for anybody, which is great. Day difficulty. I think that this is actually really cool. The default settings seem to be good. So this changes the difficulty of the bots. It scales them a bit through the progression of the days, right? Like there's a day 50 or whatever is the transmission. You can go up to over 100 here, and it gives each grouping of days a level of difficulty. Each level, by default, scales up a little bit so that for each day that you spend in the game, or at least each group of days, right, that you spend in the game, the bots will get more difficult if you turn this on. I think that it's a good idea to have it on. I could swear I had it on before. I might have turned it off. I'm not sure. But I think this is a great idea. This sort of just makes the progression even more harrowing, right, as you go forward. So this is good for immersion. I think that's great. And that is all. That is the Armed Enhancement AI System Overhaul. It covers so much stuff. You can easily spend all afternoon just hovering over each one of these items, right? Looking at the tooltips, seeing what each of them does, messing with the sliders, and seeing exactly what it does in the game. What we're going to do right now is see... you see that? So you can see all the information now. There's nothing because I'm in the shelter. No AI bots have spawned in. That's what we're looking at right now. What was it? F5? Yeah, F5, okay. So now I can mouse over here and I can look at all this stuff. I can... Whoops. How do I get that back? Whoops. What was that? F4? No, F5. Oh god. I might have to go back in and redo that. Let's see. HUD visibility hotkey was on F4. Got it. So does that mean I can't like... Okay, there we go. I just didn't know what I was doing. Okay, this is all this stuff. There are MCM toggles. That's exactly what we saw. Just in the menu. And maybe with a couple more things. I'm not entirely sure, maybe. But it also just has all the stats of all the bots that are going to spawn in. So we can... can I resize this? Wait, how does it say to do that? Resize corner scroll. F5. Exit, drag header. Aha. Okay. I can't actually like... So I can move it, but... Is there a resize corner? It's this one. It's this one. So if I want to, I can make this smaller. And do that like that. Okay. So now, let me just go back to the normal thing, and we're going to go into the map and see what happens. So you can already see that the counter was going up. You can see what appear to be the spawn locations. I forgot to do this. No, set that to default. Do this. Okay, come back in here and then do that. Okay, but there we go. So now you can see that the bots, actually, those markers are the bots themselves. You can see where they are. And if I come over here, let me hit F5 again. You can hear them fighting each other because the faction warfare is on. We can see the breakdown of all of their stats and information. So we can see what they're doing, when they're doing it. Basically, if you're really watching, then you can watch their activity as they do all these things. You can see that however many are fighting. You can see them however many are in cover. You can see however many are hunting. You can see however many are wandering and however many are idle, etc. The nearest AI, the full population, all that stuff. And we can see that all of the settings that I changed just now are indeed fully in effect. There's a guy wandering over there. What's he doing over there, you might ask? Can he see me? He's going to be less able to see me because it's dark, but he did spot me. So yeah, the intention is not for you to play normally like this. The intention is for you to tune the spawns exactly how you want them, and also to troubleshoot and make sure that the changes that you've made are indeed taking effect. That guy wants to be a problem. Oh, got him. So I want to say that those yellow-orange markers over there are the elites. That must be the elite squad that I configured. And honestly, I think that these settings right here are great for an active and dynamic, dangerous raid. A raid that's going to continue to be dangerous for the duration that you're in it, because the bots aren't going to stop spawning. Whether or not you get through the entire pool of them, they're just going to keep spawning in. And I think that that's probably the best way to do it, because it's going to keep the raids being much more interesting and much more dynamic, and it'll give you an incentive to always be careful. Because at a certain point in the vanilla raids, it kind of just gets too boring. You're like, wow, I massacred everybody. There's no one left. I'm totally safe, and I'm just going to wander around being bored, essentially. You know what I mean? So I think that this is much better. I'd like to encounter those guys. Can I, let's see here. What's the, can I just flip this off? Okay, I can flip the window off, but I'm not sure if there's a hotkey to disable all the actual markers. But it seems like I'll probably be safe just running over here to do this. What's my exposures all the way up? I didn't actually plan on it being nighttime out here, by the way. I'm sorry that it's dark. But I guess it does kind of make it easier to see the markers, doesn't it? Yeah. Alright, so I see here, this guy is military. So maybe the markers just have to do with whether it's a guard. Okay, got it. It's whether it's a guard or a bandit or a soldier. Okay, so the white markers are bandits, the blue ones are guards, and the orange ones are soldiers. Soldiers. That's where they are. You can see their stats, you can see their health, you can see their ammunition, I think, right? P5, H2, 100%. Who even knows? Oh. There was a healing sound effect. Somebody was healing themselves, I think. And, whoa. That's how it is. And this is how, with fewer settings, obviously, in different configurations. This is how I've been using the mod up until this point here in the game. And I think it's probably the best AI mod available for Road to Vostok right now. If that's not explicitly true, then I just don't know for sure. Did you hear that? I like hit his helmet and knocked it off. You can hear when you actually hit armor. See that? You might be able to see. Okay, yeah. First of all, he's got night vision. Second of all, that's actually a different mod that gives them night vision, by the way. But you can see that when I shoot them, the helmet flies off. They no longer have that protection. So it's not like they just have a fixed invincible helmet all the time. And yeah, I was actually going to go over... Oh, you see that? It says heal, fall back and heal. That's his behavior. Yeah, that's awesome. I was actually going to go over a bunch of other mods that I use in this video, but I think I've spent a lot of time talking about this already. It's kind of an info dump that I wasn't necessarily planning on, so I think that's where we're going to leave it. I just wanted to go over that with you real quick, because I've gotten a lot of questions about how I use this mod and how it works in general. And yeah, I just thought it would be great to go through it, check out all the settings together, show you exactly the settings that I use, and you know, yeah, we can sort of spend our time doing this sort of thing while we wait for build 2 to come out. Like I said, I think that's going to be next month. I don't know for sure. I don't know when next month that might be. Keep an eye on the Road to Vostok Discord server and also the Road to Vostok Twitter account, because Auntie is still posting there. But of course, every time he does make a post on Twitter, it also lands on Discord as a notification. So you might as well just, you know, stick to that. And he's like, oh, I'm getting shot from so far away. As you can see with the ballistics mod, like the tracers show actually how wide those shots can go as you're firing at long range. And I think that that's awesome. This is probably too dark for many people to see, but I will do my best. The encoding on YouTube is really rough, and there's just no way to go about it. But yeah, man, I just think this is really cool. Hopefully you enjoyed this, or at least it was informative for you. Let me know if you have any other questions about this in the future. We can probably go over it again. And when build 2 lands and the mods change, we're gonna have to go over it again anyway. So yeah, just look forward to all that. Thank you very much for joining me here today, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll be back with another video pretty soon. Like I said, we're not going to be doing another legitimate playthrough in this game until build 3 or build 2 comes out. I'm sorry. Did he go into the generalist's room? My man, did you go into the generalist room? Are you in here with the generalist right now? Dude. That's messed up. That's pretty wild. That's actually a first for me that I saw. Did you see that? Did you see that, man? That was pretty crazy. Whoa, with the exposure all the way up, it kind of washes your face all the way out. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Have a great time. Enjoy the game, and peace be upon you.